When you think about India's freedom struggle, a few famous names probably pop into your head, right? But some of the most powerful stories, the ones with incredible grit, belong to those who fought away from the limelight. Today, we're diving into the life and unbelievable sacrifice of Laxman Nayak, a tribal leader whose story of courage absolutely demands to be heard.
Just imagine, those were the last words Laxman Nayak ever spoke, just moments before his execution. That's not just some hopeful phrase, is it? It sounds more like a prophecy. It really forces you to ask, who was this man? What gave him that kind of absolute certainty, especially in the face of death?
So to really get who the man behind those words was, we've got to go back. We need to rewind past his tragic end, all the way to his remarkable beginnings. We need to see how a leader like him was forged in the hills of South Odisha.
All right, so Laxman Nayak was born back on November 22, 1899, in a small village called Tentuliguma, in what was then the Koraput District. He was a member of the Bhumia Tribe, and his father, Padlam Nayak, was actually a Mustadaar. Think of it like a tribal chief, a really respected figure. So you can see he was born right into this world of tradition and community, but also one where colonial pressure was really starting to build.
Now, Nayak wasn't just a leader in name, he truly transformed his community. His deep commitment to his people and his unwavering principles, well, it earned him a title. And this title, it says everything you need to know about his character and his methods. People started calling him the Gandhi of Malkangiri. And look, this wasn't just some catchy nickname, it was a perfect reflection of his entire philosophy. He was so inspired by Mahatma Gandhi that he took the principle of nonviolence, ahimsa, and made it the supreme vow of his life. It became his primary weapon against colonial rule.
And his influence went way beyond just politics. It was deeply personal. As a social reformer, he was out there fighting superstitions and pushing for adult education. As a Gandhian activist, he literally carried a charkha, a spinning wheel, from house to house, spreading that message of self-reliance. He was also a traditional healer, using his knowledge of medicinal herbs to care for the sick. He was a true grassroots leader in every single sense of the word.
So, you might be asking yourself, how does a man of peace become a leader of resistance? Well, for Laxman Nayak, the two things were completely inseparable. He channeled his community leadership and his Gandhian ideals into direct, nonviolent action against the crushing weight of colonial oppression.
You see, the situation was pretty black and white. On one side, you had the colonial system, built on exploitation, crippling taxes, and forced labor, or Baithi. Nayak's response was a whole new system of resistance. He organized his people, taught them to be fearless, and to peacefully refuse illegitimate demands. He even preached abstinence, recognizing that alcohol was being used as just another tool of control. He was systematically dismantling the tools of oppression with nonviolence.
And this steady, nonviolent resistance was really starting to build momentum. Then, in 1942, the Quit India movement sweeps across the nation, and Nayak hears Gandhi's call. This would lead to a fateful confrontation, one that was intended to be peaceful, but was destined for tragedy.
Okay, so picture this. It's August 21st. About 1,000 people, led by Nayak, marched to the Mathili police station. Their goal was simple and peaceful, to hoist the Congress flag and court arrest. They were chanting Ramadan, a devotional song. But they were met with violence. The police lathi-charged the crowd, beating Nayak himself until he was unconscious. As his followers reacted in horror, the police opened fire. The peaceful protest became a massacre.
The colonial administration saw an opportunity in the chaos. Instead of taking responsibility for the violence they caused, they decided to use the incident to eliminate a powerful and popular leader for good.
And this was the charge they settled on. They accused Laxman Nayak, a man of nonviolence who was lying unconscious from their own beating, of murdering a forest guard named G. Ramaya during the protest.
His own words, written from prison, are a haunting testament to the injustice. He makes it crystal clear he was unconscious, a victim of police brutality himself, and Ramaya was killed in the police firing. He maintained his innocence before God and his own conscience.
What followed was a complete travesty of justice, just built on lies. The administration painted him as a violent murderer. The reality was he was a committed pacifist. They said he was responsible. In reality, he was unconscious. They claimed his mob killed the guard, but the guard, an opium addict who had wandered into the crowd, was killed by police bullets. The trial was a sham, designed to make an example of a powerful leader.
So, on November 13, 1942, The Sessions Court sentenced him to death. An appeal was filed with the Patna High Court, supported by freedom fighters like Umacharan Patnaik, but it was rejected. The colonial system was determined to see this through to the end. But even though his life was cut short by injustice, his story didn't end there. Not even close. In fact, his death cemented his status as an immortal martyr, and his sacrifice became a powerful symbol of resistance and integrity that endures to this day.
At 5:30 in the morning on March 29, 1943, Laxman Nayak gallantly walked to the gallows. After uttering his final prophetic words about India's freedom, he was hanged. His body was buried within the jail compound, a final attempt by the authorities to erase his memory. But they failed.
So when you boil it all down, his story leaves us with this incredibly clear picture of who he was. A true grassroots reformer, uplifting his community from within. A devoted follower of nonviolence, proving strength isn't aggression. A fearless organizer who empowered thousands. A victim of a colonial system that shows injustice over truth. And ultimately, an immortal martyr whose sacrifice is a crucial part of India's freedom story. And that legacy is very much alive. Today, he is honored as a pioneer of the freedom movement in southern Odisha. Major institutions, like the Sahid Laxman Nayak Medical College and Hospital in Koraput, bear his name, ensuring that future generations know the story of the Gandhi of Malkangiri.
And that really brings us to our final thought. Laxman Nayak's conviction in freedom was as absolute as a law of nature. It makes you wonder, in a world of shifting certainties, what are the unwavering truths and convictions that guide us today? That's a question worth reflecting on.